You should now have the controls, Chad.
Okay, thank you. And just to confirm, can you see my Infor screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, thanks for the intro. And again, everybody, my name is Chad Ruff, and I'm the founder of InboxGuru. We've released a lot of exciting features over the past year, and I'll run through a few of those today. But please keep in mind, this is not going to be a full demo. We're only going to be discussing a few of the new items that we've rolled out over the past year. So for a full demo, please give Scott a call and he'll run through all the features. But today we're definitely going to cover nurture marketing, landing pages, and scoring, which are some of the features that were rolled out over the past year. But where I always like to start my demos is in native Infor and talking about dynamic groups. So dynamic groups are a very powerful part of Infor. And unlike any other marketing automation system out there, InboxGuru does not need to sync contact or lead data. So most marketing automation systems require you to sync the contact and lead data from Infor into their system, and then require you to go into their system to build segmentations, which is very limiting. The marketer needs access to more tables and more columns in those tables to create very precise segmentations. So by using dynamic groups, the marketer can have access to all the tables and columns inside the system. So I'm just opening up a dynamic group here, and you can see that this is just the normal Infor functions. We have conditions which allow us to do our where criteria. And again, you can join any table in the system and use conditions on any column inside of the system. Then we also have the layout tab, which is a very important feature for InboxGuru. Anything that you drag and drop into the layout is going to be accessed by InboxGuru through that individual nurture campaign. And this is important for two reasons. First, you can do a mail merge to any of the fields found in the layout columns. So let's say that you had a custom expiration table and you had the expiration date in that table, and you wanted the email to say your product is expiring on this date. Well, by dragging and dropping the expiration date into the layout, it's now available for a mail merge. The second thing you can do is to build a decision based on a nurture diagram based on the data inside the layout. So now you can make decisions based on title, but also what you might find in the ERP system, such as an invoice overdue. So all those things are available to InboxGuru simply by accessing it through a dynamic group. So I'll go ahead and close down the dynamic group, and I'll jump into InboxGuru, and I'll click on drip marketing on the left-hand side. As you can see, everything for InboxGuru is all inside of Infor, so you never have to leave Infor to do anything for marketing automation. So I'll go ahead and create a new campaign in the top right, and we'll just name this campaign Demo. Smart tags are a way for you to organize your campaign for future findings, so you just put in as many tags as you want to find them later. The campaign template is a template that will dictate the flow of your nurture. So this is not to be confused with an email marketing template such as the HTML. This is more the flow of your marketing campaign. So you can have a one-off email very easily just by sending off an email blast. You can do a drip campaign that has pause between the sends. You can do an auto response for filling out a contact us page, and you can have a more advanced nurture campaign. So what I'll do for now is just select the marketing template, and I'll say I want to do a to email send. The next part of this is, what is your list name? So who do you want to send this email to? As you can see, we have a couple of different decisions here. We can do a personal list all the way down to segmentation to dynamic groups. So a personal list is a list of emails that are contained inside of InboxGuru, and they're not inside of Infor. So let's say that you have some unqualified leads and you don't want to push those into Infor just yet. You would put that into a personal list. You would send email marketing to them. You would see if they open or click, and then later decide to push those into Infor using scoring rules. So here we also have access to the core dynamic groups of Infor. So I'll go ahead and select dynamic groups. And you can see on the right-hand side, we have all the dynamic groups available to us in the system. So I'll just select call down. All right, the next part is the list compare options. And this is a very powerful part of InboxGuru. List compare allows you to set up one dynamic group, set up one email campaign, and then bind the two together. And what's going to happen is that we will monitor that dynamic group on an hourly or daily basis. If we find net new people coming into that dynamic group, because as you know, that's an ad hoc query against all your data, and it changes constantly as your data changes, then we're going to take that email address and we're going to add them to the top of this campaign. So let's go back to the expiration example. We had somebody expiring a product in 3 days, and everybody has a different expiration coming about. So on 3 days before expiration, you want to enroll them into the strip campaign, and perhaps they'll get an email 3 days before the expiration, the day of expiration, and the day before expiration. Conversely, if they fall out of the dynamic group, and again, in this scenario, let's say that they renewed their product after the 3-day expiration email went out, then we'll take them out of this campaign. And all you have to do is say, hey, point this to the dynamic group and we'll take care of the rest. The next section is the from name. Pretty easy. This is who the email's from. It can be from a generic name like marketing, or it can come directly from the leader account contact manager that you would find in the dynamic group. Let's go ahead and create this campaign. Now, as you can see, this is a very easy to read flow of an email. We have a start block, we have a send email, wait a day and send another email. So let's say you want to make a simple change to this and you want to wait 5 days between the sending of the email. I just click on this arrow and I change this to 5 days. And then perhaps we don't want to send this on the weekends. So now you see that we have a 5-day pause. Let's say that we want to enter a decision such as did they open or click on the email. I click on the first email, I say insert an action after, and I can say insert a decision. So next, this will ask me, what is your decision based on? So this can be based on the email opened. Did they open email number 1? So I'll say go. Now the decision groups do support anding and oring of things. So right now we just have, did they open the email? But let's say that we wanted to do this as an or. Did they open it or did they click it? I'll simply change this to email clicked, series 1, and go. So now you see I have an or condition. So anything inside of a group is anded, and anything in a group to another group is or together. So now we'll just name this opened and save and return. As you can see, I'm actually just naming this decision block. Okay, so now we see that we're sending up an email number 1. We're waiting 5 days, and we're then going to decide whether they open or click it. If they open or click it, then we'll send them another email. So let's go back to this expiration example. Let's say that you sent them email number 1 because their product's expiring. They didn't open or click. So now you need to kind of elevate this to a different level within your company. And let's say that you want to now make a phone call to that person because they hadn't been reading your emails. I'll change this in block to what's called a call. And so now you see that I have a call script here. So I'll click into this call script. And I can name it. I can assign this to the person who owns the leader or the contact, or I can assign it to perhaps a SDR within the company. So we'll just use account manager. And here's where you'd place some notes. As much notes as you want to. And we'll do a save and return. So what's going to happen at this point is if they didn't open or click the email, we will actually go into Infor and create an activity that is of a call type call. And we'll place the notes from this block into the call activity so that the salesperson knows what they're calling about. We will actually detect when that call has been completed, when they hit the complete button, and then that person will continue on in the flow. So if we want to then send an email after this phone call, we'll say insert action after and insert another email. And then we can end this series on this branch. All right, so you can see that we're building out a little bit more complex of a nurture flow versus just sending a one-off email. So I'll take this time just to jump into activities and show you what that call block looks like. So this is the phone call that was actually made from InboxGuru, and then this is the description that was put into the notes below. And so the person will see while they're calling the person, it'll already have the phone number and the person they're calling up on the screen. And when we hit the complete button, that's what will trigger it to continue the flow. So I'll jump back into InboxGuru, and I'm going to open up a more complex nurture flow so you can just see how big the flows can get. We've already got one pre-built called Decision Tree. And you can see this is a rather complex nurture flow. So another thing to note about the different blocks that you see here is we have something called the action block. So when they make it down the flow to this action block, I can click on that and edit the actions. So we have numerous actions that we support. We can add them to an Infor activity. We can add to another drip campaign. We can add them to a list. We can update a lead or a contact field. We can send a notification perhaps to an SDR, or we can remove them from a drip or remove them from a list. And of course, we can support multiple actions here. Okay, so one final feature that's new that I'll show you real quick is that we now support A/B testing. So I'll jump into an email that's already been built. I'll click on email number 1 and say edit the email content. So this is just a regular email that's going to go out. It's not an A/B testing. We have a subject line and the body of the email. So to enable A/B testing, I simply come over here and say enable. And now you see that I have an A and a B. To look at the B version, we can change the subject line to anything we want to, as well as insert a separate template. And then what's going to happen is every other email that goes out will be an A or a B. Okay, so that really completes all of the new features that we have for drip marketing. I'm going to continue on into landing pages. If you have any questions about drip marketing, about what we can or can't do, please enter those into the questions section for the GoToWebinar, and we'll hit those at the end. Okay, so landing pages, again, is something available right on the left-hand side within Infor. And we'll go ahead and create a new landing page. There are really two types of landing pages that you can create for InboxGuru. The first one is a landing page that would be natively supported in a CMS like WordPress. The other one is a landing page that would be hosted by InboxGuru. We call this our page designer. The main differences are the page designer is a lot more feature rich. It can support multiple pages. It can support progressive profiling, decision flows, Infor actions, and it has a lot more robust features in terms of the branching and logic flow. So for this demo, we will go ahead and create a page designer. If you did want to have a website one, which is the WordPress one, it's a one-page contact us form, very easy to build, gives you script to put into your WordPress site on just a cut and paste. But for now, we'll do the page designer. So I'll name this demo. And again, smart tags is the very same thing as what you saw in Drip Designer. Notifications are who do you want to get an email once the landing page is completed. And then we'll always put them into a list. So we'll just put them into an AS400 list here. The campaign is like an autoresponder. So once somebody completes this landing page, you may want them to get a thank you for completing the landing page or some type of thanks for registering or whatever autoresponder. So we can skip that for now. We can also insert them as a lead or a contact inside of Infor. So we're one of the few marketing automation systems that can skip the lead and go straight to a contact. Just by selecting contact, it will create the contact record. Dedupe rules, so if you want to dedupe based on the email address or have always duplicates be put into the system, that's another option. And then finally, who do you want this lead to be assigned to once it's created? So we'll go ahead and create this landing page. As you can see, this landing page designer looks very familiar to the drip marketing. So once you learn how to navigate the drip marketing, learning the page designer is pretty easy. So we'll click into the page and we'll say edit this individual page. So as you can see, we have a title and the submit button, and right now we have nothing on our layout. So I'll just go to a template and I'll add a simple contact us template. So you see we have a first name, last name, email address, etc. If I drill into a first name by clicking the pencil, the edit button, you can see that I have it defaulted with first name, requirements and stuff like that, and then this maps automatically to the Infor CRM column name. So all that's taken care of for you. So really, in just a couple of clicks, I have my first landing page. If I go back out to Designer, you see that I have a link that I can then copy and paste into a tab. So if I click here, I've got a fully functioning Contact Us page that will capture the data, push into Infor, send alerts, and do all the requirements that we saw in the page properties. So let's say that we want to turn this more into a survey and make decisions based on how people have answered our questions. So I'll edit the form, and I'll come in here and I'll just add a control you can see that we have several controls that we support, from checkboxes to drop downs to dates to emails, etc. For now, I'm going to do a star rating control. And I'll add the question, what is your rating? We can map this back to a CRM field or ignore it. And for this case, I'm just going to say we're going to have 7 stars, and we're going to default the stars to 3. So now you can see I've got a rating control pretty easily. This is just a preview of it. And I'll go back over to my flow. And now I want to insert a decision. So perhaps that we want to capture more information if someone rated us low. So I'll go into this page and I'll say insert an action after. And I'll insert a decision. Our decision will be based on the question result, or the question, what is your rating? And we'll say if this is less than or equal to 4, then we'll make a decision that way. So now you can see we have a branch of less than 4. It goes down to no branch. So let's say that if it's less than 4, we do want to collect more information. So we change this end block to a form. I'll go in and edit the form. I'll add a control, and I'll add a comment box. We want to collect comments on why they rated us so low. All right, so there's our comment box. So now if I go back out to the URL, I click on that. If I rate myself very low, then I should get a comment box asking for more information. Oh, did it the wrong way. Okay, so I just rewired my page. But either way, if it's lower than 4, then you will get a comment. If it's higher than 4, then it goes on to the last page. So one nice note about this is that I'll go ahead and add a action after, we'll have an ending page. Based on the branch they come down, if we do end, we can do end actions. So you can see that based on how they get to the very end of the landing page, we can add them to a different drip campaign. We can add them to a list. We can create Infor activities and history records. We can send notifications, remove them, and also update the leader contact information. Now the ending page can also be an HTML page, or you can redirect it to somewhere on your site. So we edit the end page. Here you can say this is HTML designer. We can put anything in here we wanted to. Or we can just have them redirect to our website. Okay, so that completes landing pages, and we'll move on to scoring now. And again, the personal list and web activity and self-pilots, we'll be able to show all that during a full demo. But for now, we're just showing the new features. So I'll go into administration and show you our scoring profiles. Now you can have as many scoring profiles as you wish. When you open a scoring profile, you can see that you have many different scoring rules. So here we have an email campaign email clicked. Any campaign gets a score of 5, and this one is an open. So if we add a rule here, we can see that we have lots of different things to make a decision on. Email clicked and open. Did they attend an event? Did they register for an event? What the landing page completed, and then any parts of the website. And you can do these for any campaign or specific campaign. So if I do an any campaign, it'll show that. If I do a specific campaign, then I can pick the individual email or just say any email within that series. So it's very flexible and allowing you to select those. But one truly unique thing about this is that we can do a data score based on an Infor dynamic group. So what's nice about this is in most marketing automation systems, you can only score on the lead or contact data. But if you wanted to score on more data that's in the system, you would simply go into Infor, build a dynamic group that has all the rules about the different columns that you want to score on. And then if they are contained inside that dynamic group, they can get a score of, let's say, 3 in this case. So if they exist inside of the active campaigns, I give them a score of 3. Now, another unique thing about our scoring are something called inclusion and exclusion lists. An exclusion list allows you to score only the records found in one or more dynamic group. So if you just want to have a scoring profile assigned to a dynamic group, that's where you do it. And then you can create a custom field, add that type to a dynamic group, and then have the scores pushed into that dynamic group. So this allows you to effectively have a call down list for your SDRs based on groups and scores. Okay, well, I covered that all pretty fast. I know we've got a few minutes left, so I want to open this back up for questions and have Scott get on the line and ask anything we want.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chad.
Okay.
It looks like we did have, currently we have one question. And again, if you have any, please post those to the question pane. The question is, you showed in landing pages that contacts can be added to a list, but they can also be added to an ad hoc or dynamic Infor group like opt-in. But, oh, I'm sorry, but can they also be added to an ad hoc or dynamic Infor group like opt-in?
Yeah, so dynamic groups are ad hoc queries against the Infor database. So technically, there's no ability to add a record to a dynamic group. What you would do is you would update let's say in this case, the opt-in, you would update the opt-in value to yes or no, and then have the dynamic group pick up the value of that column. So by nature of changing data inside of Infor, it gets picked up into a dynamic group. But the short answer is that we do not directly insert into a dynamic group. It's based on data.
All right, it looks like we have another one that came in. Is there somewhere we can go to read up on InboxGuru? I don't have it now, but we are looking to getting it. We need more general info on the hows and whys plus cost of this service.
Yeah, so Scott, you want to take that one by any chance?
Yeah, if you would be willing to, whoever asked the question would be willing to reach out to Customer FX, we can get that information to you. The pricing won't be online, but we have that and would share that with you. But there's also a great website, you know, Chad, your website, InboxGuru.com, has all kinds of information about the functionality. But for specifics on pricing and compatibility with your version of Infor, it'd be best to reach out to Customer FX, or if you're working with another business partner now, they should be able to help you with that as well.
Yeah, and just a quick note with that, Scott, the address is actually inbox.guru, and you had said inboxguru.com, but make sure you just do inbox.guru like I have here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just a quick note there, we do have video resources to learn more about different parts of the system. So you could learn this is like the basic demo, and then other parts of the system such as asset tracking and plugins.
All right, well, for now, that seems like all the questions we have, although if you think of something later, you can send an email to either Scott or myself to get that answered. If you don't have either of our email addresses, info@customerfx.com, just go to the contact page. You can put your question in there, and we will be making today's demo available on our website, and we should have that up within probably, I don't know, Scott, probably a day or two. So you'll be able to go and check it out there and share it with any coworkers. Oh, sorry to interrupt you, Scott.
No, no problem. Yeah, so if there are no other questions, I think that's a wrap. Chad, thank you so much for taking your time to dive a little deeper into some of these new and advanced features. Yeah, so that's everything we had. Thanks everybody for joining us today, and have a great holiday weekend.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks everybody.
Bye.
All right, goodbye.